Andy, let me stop you there because Shannon does have a couple more details for us so that we can get some information. Where did the court go, Shannon?
Okay, what they actually decided was that the various plaintiffs who would come forward to sue over this issue, they don't have standing. So this is an issue that we saw just last week or just days ago. If you remember, the challenge to mifepristone, that abortion pill, 9-0, the court decided that they didn't have standing, the pro-life doctors who brought that case. It looks like they're doing similar here, but it's not a unanimous opinion. It looks like Justice Barrett, who is one of the most junior justices, and they're released in reverse seniority. So it says that Chief Justice Robert Sotomayor, Kagan, Kavanaugh, and Jackson joined together. Justice Alito dissents with Thomas and Gorsuch. But essentially what they're saying is neither the states, because there were states involved in this, and or the plaintiffs have the standing to seek the injunction against any defendant. So the argument had been whether or not federal agencies and a number of government agencies had been communicating with social media groups to tell them flagging disinformation or misinformation. And of course, the argument is always about the First Amendment. If the government can't do it itself, it can't then do it through a third party, forcing, say, a social media outlet to say, we want that language down. It would amount, the argument is, to the government actually taking that same action. But what we don't get to is that, because what we get here is essentially there's no standing for the plaintiffs who brought the case. And that essentially means communications as they were happening between the federal government and agencies and these social media companies. We don't get to the legality of that. We don't get to the merits of the case.
Jonathan Turley, the First Amendment, obviously you call yourself a free speech absolutist. What does this mean? If the states don't have standing, who does?
Well, it's very frustrating for the free speech community because standing is often used to block meritorious claims. This is one of the most fundamental issues that we are facing. I wrote about this issue, this case, in my recent book. Because you have one of the largest censorship systems in our history, if not the largest. It's been called Orwellian by lower court judges. And what the court is saying is that we won't hear you on this issue because you're not the right litigants. Now, I have to admit, I've always been something of a standing dove. I believe that these standing decisions are too narrow because they do prevent the court from rendering a decision on such important constitutional questions. So this issue will have to wait for another day. But one of the things that many of us have been arguing for years is that the government is engaging in censorship by surrogate. I testified about this in Congress, that they have made a mockery of the limits of the First Amendment by doing indirectly what they're barred from doing directly. They're using academic and corporate allies to bar and cancel and blacklist critics on a variety of different subjects. So it's going to be very frustrating for the free speech community because we've been trying to see if there will be a final decision to strengthen free speech.
Andy McCarthy, if I can have you put your political hat on for a second, because you do it so well, get your thoughts on this first, too. But politically, though, what does this mean now moving forward for the Biden administration?
I actually think if we just get beyond the case, which with Jonathan, I think just really masterfully said what the stakes are here, the broader picture to me is that I think there's an emerging consensus of some of the conservative or right-of-center justices on the court, particularly Barrett, Kavanaugh, and the Chief Justice, for standing, which gives running room to the progressive bloc on the court, because those three progressive judges, I think, are willing to side with strong standing if it's a case that they don't want to see addressed. And at the same time, they'll depart from that if it's expedient for them to do that. I think they're going to be able to avoid a lot of bad rulings for their side, as it were, on standing grounds, that they're going to be the court is going to be very narrow in what decisions it will make versus what it would rather see decided by the political process.
Great point.
It's interesting to wonder, too, if the social media companies would be frustrated because they don't want necessarily, we know from the Twitter files and also from Facebook testimony, they didn't love the federal government telling them to censor people during the pandemic. Shannon Bream, you've had a chance to flip through that little book. Anything more to add on this case?
I do, yeah. So for the majority, what they say about those states and those individuals, they say the plaintiffs, without any concrete link between their injuries and the defendant's conduct, meaning those social media companies, ask us to conduct a review of the years-long communications between dozens of federal officials across different agencies with different social media platforms about different topics. But this court's standing doctrine prevents us from exercising such general legal oversight of other branches of government. Now, the dissent, which was written by Justice Alito and joined by Thomas and Gorsuch, says this. The officials wielded potent authority when they were talking with those social media groups. Their communications with Facebook, just one of the examples, were virtual demands. And Facebook's quavering responses to those demands show that it felt a strong need to yield. He goes on to say, for months, high-ranking government officials placed unrelenting pressure on Facebook to suppress Americans' free speech. He says the court unjustifiably refuses to address this serious threat to the First Amendment. So clearly, a split there. This case looks to be 6-3.
Okay, thank you, Shannon Bream and our legal eagles. We've still got about 13 more cases, and we're waiting anxiously on that big one on immunity. So we'll keep you standing by here, and we'll get to any breaking news out of the Supreme Court as it comes in.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.